Yes, all guests here on ZASLOW Show 2.0 are brought to us by the official beer of the program, Johnny Cuba, European roots with a Caribbean soul. We're talking a refreshing German lager in a can. That's the beer of choice here in the ZASLOW mansion. Pick up a six-pack of Johnny Cuba, your local Sedanos, Presidente, Winn-Dixie, Fresco y Mas. Remember, you always got to drink responsibly. And, of course, don't forget Johnny Cuba's mantra, stay tranquilo. Joy Taylor, my former co-host, Zaslow and Joy, who is a major star on FS1. Speak every weekday, 4:30 p.m. Joy, how are you? You doing all right? You look great. You good?
I'm doing good. So it's finally summer in LA, and hopefully we'll get some great Miami Heat news sooner rather than later. And football season's here.
Yeah,
So,
we're at a good time of the year. Do you in LA? Do you run by any of these actor and writer strikes? Do you see any of this stuff?
oh yeah, every day.
So they're just out on the corner doing their thing, huh?
Yeah. Like the whole city's shut down, really, as far as those productions go. We are obviously doing live shows, so we don't have writers on our shows. Or actors, obviously. So we're still affected. Like a lot of the production people are still affected, and all that. And obviously, we're supportive and in solidarity with them. But yeah, it's the whole everything is affected by the strike here in the city because it's the entertainment capital of the world. So everyone in LA, to some capacity, works with or around or makes money through the entertainment business. You have caterers who aren't being booked for big catering jobs. Every union production has to have meals and food and water and coffee and snacks
Oh, that sucks.
available to everyone that works there. You have to have lunches. Like you
Yeah.
have to provide all of that for your crew, and those companies aren't being booked for those productions. You have people who obviously work in lighting or work in stage creation, carpenters. It's everything is affected by the halt because there are no shows being made.
I didn't
People that
think of
work
it that
in
way. I didn't realize that.
wardrobe, people who tailors that work in costume design. Everything is frozen. So even if you are not an actor or a writer who is striking right now, the fact that there are no productions being made, there are no new shows being sold. Nobody is working right now. So it's really like it's a big deal.
Yeah, I did not realize that. And it's weird too because all these movies that are coming out now and TV shows too for that matter, and hell, like the fall season on regular television, there's gonna be a lot of new shows that are coming out that weren't affected by the strike because they're in the can already. But you don't have any of the actors promoting any of the movies or any of the new shows, because like they're on strike and they're in solidarity and they want to promote their movie, but they're not because they're trying to do the right thing. It sucks.
Well, I mean, anytime there's a strike, obviously there's consequences to aiding, whatever you're striking against.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, it obviously it affects this smaller level actors and writers who aren't established with big production houses way more than it affects somebody like The Rock or Margot Robbie or someone like that. People who are making the 10-15 million dollars a movie and who also get those residuals because they have the leverage to have those contract negotiations. So yeah, I mean, it's a really pivotal time for the business because obviously a lot of this strike has to do with the AI and everything going digital and streaming. And the reality is the business has changed. It's not the same business that the original agreements applied to. You have streaming. You have to adjust the arrangements to provide for the new technology that's being used to distribute the content. So yeah, and it's a lot. Like it's really hard on people. Like it's been a really interesting time to be in LA and understanding the dynamics of the city and the business. It may seem like it's just like a bunch of actors whining or writers complaining that they're not getting acknowledged, but it's really the structure of the content business here in Los Angeles. Like it's everything that's made is made a certain way within a certain structure and distributed in that way. Like there's unions here. There's, like I said, like you have caterers, you have carpenters, you have costume design people, you have makeup, you have hair, you have, there's so many levels of this business that are all being affected and are all vital to making the content that we all consume and love. And so it may seem frivolous, but that's because shows are coming out right now and there are still movies coming out. But once that stops, it will run out.
Yeah.
Are you going to go to the movie theater and rewatch a movie that's already been made? Like, I'm not.
Is that what they'll do? They'll bring back older movies and put those in the theaters to stay open if we get to that point?
I hope it won't go that long. I don't think that it will, but eventually the new content will run out.
Yeah.
As of right now, they're going to lean into, content that's already been made, obviously reintroducing shows that people haven't watched necessarily, or, encouraging people to go back and binge watch shows that they didn't, participate in originally and things like that. But yeah, eventually the content's going to run out because it's a process. You have to shoot it, you have to edit it, you have to re-edit it, you have to prepare it to be pitched to, market. Like there's a process to making the content. It's not like they're like, okay, well, strike's over, like go make Game of Thrones. Like that takes years to make shows like that. So the break is eventually going to affect us getting new shows and shows that were already, in the process of being made. So yeah.
I saw you watched Barbie. Did you love it?
It instantly entered my top 10 movies of all time.
Wow.
It is a perfect movie, in my opinion. I think it has everything. It was brilliantly written, perfectly casted. The actors were amazing. Ryan Gosling was excellent. Margot Robbie was unbelievable. Issa Rae, America Ferrera. It was Kate McKinnon. Yeah, like it's just a great movie. It's very timely and it brings me a lot of happiness because there's something wrong with me that people are upset about it, because I find it so funny that people wake up every day and find something new to be fake outraged over.
Because it's very woke, right? Is that the complaint? It's very woke?
Well, I mean, I think we've had this discussion before. I don't know what the fuck woke means when people say that. I don't know what the fuck it means. I know what the original woke meant, but I don't know what this like word that just gets thrown around.
I had this conversation with my older son a couple weeks ago about what the word meant and what it means now.
Yeah. So for those who don't understand, then we'll get back to Barbie in a second. Woke was a term that Black people use to say to people, to remind them not to trust institutions. So stay woke meant pay attention to what the government is doing, or if they're taking away certain rights or something's happening to distract you from what the long-term goal is within institutions. So it would be like, oh, stay woke. What it means now is, ironically, it's been so distorted and weaponized that the actual purpose of the word is kind of what people are trying to say, but they're so stupid and annoying that they don't understand it. So from what I can gather, woke just means anything that is liberal, anything that is inclusive,
anything that you cry about.
Yes, anything that is evolved or pertains to progress or inclusivity or kindness, or
I think it just means,
like that.
I mean, I think the proper meaning, at least at this point, is I think it just means having empathy for people who are different than you. But it's been weaponized.
If you're woke, then that's what you are, which, okay, I'm woke, but that's not actually what it means at all. So,
but that's the big complaint with Barbie, right? It's so woke. That's what everyone's complaining about, right?
Well, so it's complex because yes, it's woke and that it is extremely inclusive and that it is pro women, and that it encourages you to be a complete person that practices empathy and understanding for other humans, or Barbies in this case. So yes, if that is something that you don't enjoy, in general as a lifestyle, then yes, this movie is probably too woke for you. I guess my other pushback would be being someone who played with Barbies growing up. Like, I don't know, did you play with Barbies?
No.
Okay. I played with Barbies growing up. I was a Barbie girl. I loved Barbies. And the critique, other than it being woke, of the movie is that it's pro Barbie and anti Ken. So therefore anti men, because it's pro women, Barbies representing women, Ken representing men. The funny thing about it is, when I played with Barbies growing up, I only had one Ken because nobody gives a fuck about Ken. No one. I've never gone to the Toys R Us and begged my mother to buy me another Ken. No one cares about Ken. You have a Ken, honestly, out of principle. I never played with Ken. You just put Ken there, and then we played with the Barbies. He had a nice life, my Ken. He dated all the Barbies.
Yeah, and, good for him.
You know, like, he just chilled there. No one asked him anything because it wasn't about Ken. It was Barbie's dream house, and it was Barbie's Corvette, and it was Barbie's boat and Barbie's RV. It was never called Ken's RV. I wouldn't want Ken's RV. I want Barbie's RV because Barbie's RV is pink and Ken's RV would be hideous and covered in flames. So the movie tells that story, and because it's well written, it's a bit of a reflection of society and where we are with relationships between men and women. But it's just funny to me because it re-emphasizes what Barbies were, which is a doll that little girls enjoyed playing with because it was Barbie, because Barbie had the car and Barbie was awesome and Barbie had the careers, and it wasn't brainwashing us then, but now all of a sudden there's a movie that explains how Barbie works. Now all of a sudden it's woke. So my takeaway is, are you saying that girls shouldn't play with dolls now? Like, that's how far you guys have gone off the rails trying to regulate every bit of content and everything that's going on. You complain about everything so much that now it's woke to play with dolls. So I can't keep up, but it seems like to me, all they did was make a movie about my childhood experience and every other Barbie girl that ever played with Barbies. And at the time, I was told girls play with dolls. So I guess the messaging was always wrong, and now everyone's been hip to the idea that Ken never mattered. I never played with Ken. What do I care about Ken for? I couldn't even imagine going into Toys R Us like, oh my God, this new Ken, how awesome. Who cares about Ken?
I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'll see it once it comes out streaming because, yeah, I'm not going to end up making my way to the theater for Barbie. I got 2 teenage boys, but we'll watch it when it's streaming. We'll watch it when it comes out.
I actually think I think you and Sam would really enjoy it. I think Sam would love it. But it's actually it's a great movie. Like, outside of outside of the entertainment that I personally got from all of the snowflake tears and it not making sense why they were mad, it's really like a very funny, really good movie. So I think you'll like it. But I also love going to the movies. Like, I'm going to go see Oppenheimer.
I saw
Mission Impossible.
Oppenheimer's great. I loved it. Loved it.
I'm going to go see it. I also saw Mission Impossible. I'm going to see On Demand. Like, I'm a moviegoer. I like going to the movies. So, but yeah, I hear you.
And I saw Ninja Turtles. We saw Ninja Turtles last week, me and my younger son. It's very funny. It's really good.
It's good?
This new Ninja Turtles. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about Damian Lillard here. All right. What have you made of the reaction to what's going on? Do you think there's a bias against the Heat? Is there a Miami bias there? If it was another team that was trying to get Lillard, would they be getting the same reaction as far as, wow, that's a shitty offer that the Heat have made? What have you made of the reaction to this whole situation?
Yes, I have felt that there has been a negative reaction to it because it's the Heat, because I think people are still not over LeBron. And I think people don't want to admit that they're not over LeBron because, for the most part, most of us have taken a step back from the decision and realized, like, maybe it was overreaction. You know, maybe it was like he was the first one to do it and he ripped Cleveland's heart out, sure, but like, he also raised millions of dollars for charity and now everyone does it. So is it really that big of a deal? Most reasonable people have come to the conclusion that they overreacted with the hatred towards LeBron for the decision. But they're not ready to admit that they have moved on completely from hating the Heat. So here it is happening again. Damian Lillard, a top 75 player who most organizations would absolutely love to have, probably all. If they could add him without losing any of their, particularly great pieces, they would love to have Damian Lillard. Consummate professional, great player, completely dedicated to the game. And here he is choosing Miami. Why wouldn't he choose Boston? Why wouldn't he choose Philadelphia, even though they can never make it past the second round of the playoffs, no matter how good their stars are? Why wouldn't he choose the Lakers? Why wouldn't he choose Milwaukee? So the idea that he wants to go to Miami bothers people. I think also people really feel like Miami is a bit arrogant in that they're not just willing to give up whatever they have for Damian Lillard. And I mean, I've had a lot of these conversations during the postseason about Miami, where I was fighting for my life every day, trying to explain why Miami is here. And I still feel like even though the Heat went all the way to the finals with the roster that they had, people will still find ways to argue to the death that everyone else in the East is in a better situation than Miami. And I just don't get, it's just not reasonable. Miami has been to the finals 2 of the last 4 years in the Eastern Conference. So they're better than any other team in the Eastern Conference, not named Milwaukee, because Milwaukee won the championship.
They're the most successful team in the Eastern Conference in the last 13 years. Miami Heat.
Sure. And I will give a nod to Milwaukee because Milwaukee won the championship. And they, even though I don't think that their roster is the same as the roster that won the championship, I think players like PJ Tucker do not get the credit that they deserve for what they contributed to that roster. I don't think Chris Middleton is as healthy, but fine. They got Giannis. I'll give you the nod. But nobody else in the East is really a reasonable pitch to me because Boston lost significant pieces. Philadelphia, once again, cannot get past the second round of the playoffs and now has a new coach that I like, but still has a new coach. Milwaukee, by the way, also has a new coach. So when you're going down the list of options for Damian Lillard, if he were to ask to leave, Miami has the same president and Pat Riley, the same coach and Eric Spoelstra, both champions, a core that went to 2 finals in the last 4 years, and has shown the ability to build rosters around star players better than anyone else in the Eastern Conference. Because I think the Warriors do a great job of that as well. He's not going to ask to go to a team in the Western Conference. So when you go down the list on the East, who else would you send him to? Who else would he want to go to? Who else would you send him to? So I'm being long-winded, but I'm saying yes, like people want to make arguments for other teams that who build up less animosity in their spirit than the Heat do. But the reality is the Heat are the best option for Damian Lillard.
Well, and my biggest problem with the media reaction throughout this has been the ones who are pointing their finger at the Heat saying, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to offer this, you need to up the offer, you need to... Why? Why do the Heat need to do that? I mean, here is our offer. Take it or leave it. Like the Heat don't need... It's not like I can understand if the Heat are out in public complaining about the Blazers dragging their feet, Joe Cronin won't return their calls, and then you say, because the Heat are complaining, then you say, well, you need to up your offer. The Heat haven't said a word. The Heat made an offer. Take it or don't. See ya. So this idea that the Heat need to do this or need to do that, the Heat don't need to do shit. They made an offer. The Blazers are the ones with the problem. The Heat don't have a problem. The Heat were just in the finals. You have a problem. You have a player who wants out. You're trying to rebuild. We're willing to help you with this problem. This is our offer. Take it or leave it. So that's been my big problem. is those who are pointing their finger at the Heat as if they're doing something wrong here. They don't have to do shit.
They don't. They don't. And look, obviously the Heat's roster needs another star. I think they need another piece. As evidence that Jimmy Butler has really gone above and beyond to put this team in position to compete for a championship through the last 4 years. But I agree. You, Blazers, are the ones who chose to take Scoot Henderson.
Yeah.
You could have traded that pick. You lied. You lied to Dame. You said that you were all in on winning a championship right now. And then you went and kept that pick and drafted Scoot Henderson. You made no effort to bring in any other veteran pieces to supplement the roster. The roster, everyone on the roster is 24 years old or under.
Mm-hmm.
It's a roster for the future. So you lied to Dame. After, by the way, Dame was loyal. And now you're in a situation where he's at a point in his career where he's ready to go play for a championship. You're at a point in your organization's timeline where you're building for the future. This is all on the Blazers. The Blazers had an opportunity to come to Dame privately and say, what do you want to do? Because this is where we are as an organization, and this is the direction we're going to be going in for the next couple of years. And if Dame says, okay, if you're not going to do that, please trade me. Let's do it quietly. Let's figure out a place that makes sense for everyone and get it done. And instead, they went and drafted Scoot Henderson and tried to keep, like, you're trying to please everybody and you're pleasing no one at the same time. And now you're in this situation. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anyone to blame here but the Blazers. And I don't think that they're dysfunctional or poorly run. It's just they're trying to do everything and nothing at the same time. So what's the purpose of trying to squeeze one more draft pick out of Miami or whatever? Like, you chose the direction you wanted to go in loudly with this draft pick. You chose this direction. You knew what this was. And I'm sure you had conversations with Dame before that draft. So, so I don't have a lot of sympathy for anyone on that side of it. Like, this is what you have to do. It's kind of similar to Aaron Rodgers with the Packers and him wanting to go to the Jets. Like, we knew that deal was going to get done. It took longer than everyone thought it would, but he wasn't going anywhere else. And the Packers were ready to move on. That's why he drafted Jordan Love and then paid Jordan Love to stay there. So it's like all these choices were made. So I honestly, I think it's going to get done. It's taken longer than I think most people felt like it would because the Blazers are dragging their feet. But eventually the Blazers don't really have a choice. Like, are they going to force Damian Lillard to play there? No.
Oh, and so then once you get to training camp, every single day it's asking questions about it. It's an untenable situation. Can't do it. I wanted to talk some NFL with you. We'll have to save that for next time. You're a busy girl. I got to let you go. But lastly here, one of the things I miss the most about doing the show with you is we have very similar taste in our television viewing habits. What are you watching these days, or have you finished Netflix?
No, I haven't finished Netflix, but I am watching the F1 series and I'm watching Quarterback. So I'm all in on the sports docu-series right now. I think they're fascinating. The F1 one is great. I'm feeling like I should transition to an F1 reporter because it seems like I just get to travel the world and cover sport, which is like half of what I do, like mixed together in a bowl. But I love that series and like learning about that sport from that perspective.
What about a scripted show? Are you watching any scripted shows?
I'm still in the middle of Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, me too. I can't finish it. I love it, but I can't finish it. I'm in the middle of it too.
The episodes are an hour. So like I gotta sit down. You have to pay attention.
You gotta concentrate. Yeah.
I have to watch it with the subtitles.
It's not an easy watch. You gotta concentrate. Yeah.
So I'm still in the middle of Peaky Blinders for
you know what you gotta watch, which we watch. We're probably gonna watch the finale tonight. Hijack with Idris Elba.
I saw a lot of people talking about that.
Good show. Really good show. I tweeted about it. He liked my tweet, Idris Elba. That was very cool. He liked my tweet. So watch Hijack
Does
on
that
Apple
does
Plus.
that make you more handsome if Idris Elba likes one of
I
your
don't know.
tweets?
You tell me. Look at this Punim. I mean, it looks a little bit more handsome, right? I got that rub from Idris Elba.
I think you got a little handsome rub. Yeah.
I think so, right? There you go. All right. Yeah, watch Hijack. Hijack's really. And we also watched Lincoln Lawyer on Netflix. Lincoln Lawyer is good.
Oh yeah, I crushed that show a long time ago.
Well, no, the last half of the season just came out yesterday.
Oh, there's a new season?
Well, it's the last half of this season. Yeah. Yeah, there's new episodes. Yeah, there's like 4 more episodes. Yeah, you should watch it. It's really good.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I like that show.
Joy, promote some stuff here. Tell people things.
Check out Speak on FS1, 4:30 Eastern. That's my daily show. And go follow my foundation. I have some stuff coming up. That's exciting. So Joy T Foundation on social media and Joy Taylor Talks on social media.
Awesome. Great job, Joy. Thanks a lot. You're killing it.
Thanks.